Stop broadcast. Apparently, we are now live. Hello, everyone, from the snowy state of Tennessee. I'm talking to you live here from the bike shed straight out of Nashville, where right now we are experiencing Snowpocalypse 2016. We're expected to get somewhere between 6 and 8 inches of snow, which for Tennessee is not really great. We'd have no capability to deal with this. So hopefully, the internet stays good over the next hour or so while we talk about, ChatOps. So hello. So I also wanted to just make a quick little note. I'm James Fryman. I am not Patrick Holboom. So if you came here to see Patrick today, I'm so sorry. Our famous tightrope walker, actually, he's a tightrope walker. I hope you noticed that in the entry email. So he actually just got called by the central government in Wuhan, China, to go visit the Phoenix Towers, which are under construction. So he's consulting over there right now to help them build a catwalk across the two towers. I guess since the wire hit, everybody's really excited about it, and so he got a call and he had to go. So unfortunately, just going to have to deal with me today and this wonderful group of folks that are joining us. So hopefully, I hope we'll have a good time. All right, so let's get started. Today with me I have a wonderful panel of guests. I have Alex. Alex, I always say your name wrong. I'm sorry. I'm gonna Marksky. Yeah, I muted you too, so that didn't help you at all. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can unmute you. Marsky.
It's Makarsky.
Makarsky, I'm sorry. So we have Alex Makarsky joining us. He helps us with website design and online marketing at StackStorm. So he's here to provide us with a unique perspective on ChatOps from the business perspective. We're also joined by the veritable Sally Lehman. Sally joins us from GoDaddy. She and I work together at GitHub. And she has some awesome ops chops and loves to talk about ChatOps. So I invited her along. We've also got the amazing Manas Kelshikar. I'm really sorry if I'm butchering your last names. Correct me if I'm wrong. Manas is the partner in crime with Patrick, and he's here to hold the fort down and talk to us a little bit about the developer perspective around ChatOps. What his experience has been and how it's helped him. And then finally, we have an amazing special guest here with us today, James White, the one and only James White, writer of the James White Manifesto, author of popular rants such as "You're doing it wrong," "Don't do that," "Stop." So we're really excited to have him here and tell us about his perspectives on ChatOps and generally ranty sysadmins in general. So hopefully a good mix of people. So welcome. Before we get started, though, I want to just say hello to Patrick. Good luck. Do not forget your parachute. Okay. So I'm going to start actually today. Just talk about ChatOps in general, right? And then we're gonna start with Alex and get his perspective. But I spend a lot of time talking about ChatOps. If you followed any bit of my Twitter stream, which is at @jfryman, and if you'd like, we'll be publicizing all the folks who are here today. So at @stack_storm for StackStorm, at @jfryman for myself, at Rothsa for Sally, at James_S_White for James, and ManasDK for Manus. Now I lost my thought now talking about Twitter. But if you've seen me on Twitter, the point being is I talk about ChatOps a lot. I really love ChatOps. And a lot of people when I talk to ChatOps say, I've done this before. I know this. I've heard about it. It's not new to me. What you're explaining to me isn't foreign. And that's good, right? Because really all that I'm trying to do is bring awareness to this idea of ChatOps. Because technically it's been around for as long as bots in IRC rooms, or heck, I'm sure maybe they even had some experimental Usenet crawlers that would act in this way. But basically automated event-driven, something occurs, some event, a message, somebody talking about something, and then as a result, other things happen. The most paradigms that I see it in usually have to do with I'm pulling up a cute puppy or dog in the chat room after a long day of deployment, or hey, I just wanted to go look up this weird term on Urban Dictionary that somebody just said. I have no idea what that was. But my focus has always been around operations and development optimization. And when I got to GitHub and saw how they harnessed the power of ChatOps to really bridge the divide, if you will, between development teams, operations teams, and business owners alike, it seemed to me like the missing piece of the puzzle. Right? There's only so much that you can do and implement with technology. At some point, you have to deal with people. Right? Humans are involved in this, and humans don't like friction. And so our goal is to try to figure out ways to continue to advance business in a way that people are familiar with, a chat interface, people are familiar with talking to each other, and allow them to use their own language, the company language that they have, in order to deliver things, as opposed to letting tools drive them. So that's really kind of the premise we're coming at with it today. So, with that said, I'm gonna bring in our first guest here, Alex. Welcome to the show, Alex. Oh, you're muted. Oh, try that again. Yeah, welcome to the show, Alex. Woo.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. So, tell me a little bit about your background. Just introduce yourself real quick.
Well, I have an engineering degree, and I've been a consultant all my life. Early on, I thought I was going to become a software developer, but turned out I sucked at it. And I had two options: to get fired or get promoted. I chose the second, and started managing projects, working on site, large infrastructure things, and so on and so forth. And when you start managing projects as a project manager, one of the things they tell you to do is uncover hidden opportunities for the company to solve other problems. So I got slowly migrated to the role of sales and marketing, and about 10 years ago I quit my job with a consulting firm and started my own gig, and been working with a lot of interesting businesses, startups like StackStorm. I have my fingers in a few projects of my own as well, and I haven't really come across ChatOps. Haven't really had a chance to get a full sense of what ChatOps can do within a business until I started working with you guys. So it's a relatively recent endeavor, but I've experienced consulting teams craving for a chat-based tool to help them on a project, especially when you work with a distributed team, and email and telephone are not good communication channels to keep the conversation going, to keep the thread current. So when you look at ChatOps as a term, it's combined of two words, chat and ops. And a lot of people look at chat and say, oh yeah, we know what it is, like it's a chat.
Right.
And they focus on the aspect of communication, whereas to me, ChatOps is more about the ops. And ops is an acronym. I don't know if you looked it up in a dictionary, but it actually stands for getting shit done.
I think that is the exact term in there, yeah.
Yeah, so that is the main thing about it. So it's not about communication. It's about actually moving things forward in a concerted fashion. If you look at the development of other communication channels, anything that we have, email, Skype was for a while a hot thing. Like a lot of teams try to do that. Like, there were other instant messengers before. Obviously, Facebook has one in it. Like, all these things got infested with people who tried to push their agenda into your calendar, right? So you start. I mean, I do think Microsoft picked up a dud when they bought Skype, because like, if they wanted to increase their stronghold in the enterprise, I mean that would have been the last thing that we wanted. But it's because like Skype has become too much of a social platform and too little of an operational tool. Whereas if you look at Slack, what we've done, there's really not a whole lot of difference other than two key components. One is you have your team, you have this compartmentalization of, if that's a word, you have compartments where you you give your unstructured conversations a little bit of a structure. It's not too rigid. It's not like an online forum, which is rigid and a little too heavy to use. So it doesn't introduce quite as much friction into the conversation, but still it gives you buckets that you can manage properly, and it gives this API to integrate to all kinds of crap. So even though these differences don't seem that significant on the surface, they dramatically change the nature of work and how the work is done using this tool. So as an example, I've launched a trial project, an MPV, if you will, with a business partner a couple of months ago. Like I cannot say we have pre-revenue because we made a few bucks on simple traffic arbitrage. So I guess we're doing a lot better than some of the Silicon Valley startups. But we're still a long way to make a profit. But we're bootstrapping this thing. So we're trying out a bunch of things. And our communication is all in Slack. So the first thing we did was integrate our website opt-in forms to Slack. So now every time we get a lead come in, ding, we get this thing show up in our channel, and it gives us a reason to celebrate. It's kind of like in the old boiler room.
With the bell, the sales bell, right? Like, yeah.
Ding, 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 right?
Yeah.
We got one. So you can create this kind of it's a metaphor for the same bell ring, right? But it creates this sense of a forward movement on a project. All the small wins, and it can only happen in ChatOps. Like email wouldn't be the same thing.
Yeah.
Then as soon as we started this project, Christmas Day, my web server went down. Like the hosting company got attacked, and they couldn't bring up my node back up for 6 days. I'm not going to advertise this company today. I'm not very happy with them, but when something like this happens, you want to know about it right away. Again, email would be not current enough. Email is too asynchronous. It has become, whenever I have time to check it, like I don't sit in my email all day. Like I don't have it open on my computer all day. Some people try to get me on my phone, this in text. Like I have no problem, silencing my phone. I have no problem not logging into my Facebook for 3 weeks in a row. Like if people try to get me there, right? Good luck. Like you're not going to get me there. But ChatOps, I'm there all the time because that's the pulse of my operations. That's the pulse of my business. I have to be there all the time.
So that's interesting. I mean, you brought up a couple points I kind of want to dig into a little bit. Specifically around the way that you guys have changed communication, right? One of the concerns or things that people are apprehensive about when they think about ChatOps is, it's such a different way of working in terms of how we've been kind of conditioned to work in the traditional business environment, where you're heavily reliant on meetings, you're heavily reliant on these emails and phone calls. Tell me a little bit about how things have changed now that you've introduced things like ChatOps.
Well, things haven't changed in this particular sense because it's a brand new endeavor, and we're building a new team. We just started, from a blank slate, and that's the way we decided to do things. But if I can compare this to maybe some previous projects, then the need for meetings has been reduced dramatically. Like my partner in crime lives a good 40 minutes away from me. Depending on traffic, could be an hour. But I cherish this hour. Like it's hour one way, another hour the other way. That's 2 hours out of my day. Like I really don't like to invest these 2 hours into, sitting in traffic and then sitting in some noisy coffee shop. Yeah. Even though working from a coffee shop has been glorified as the ultimate lifestyle thing. I don't find myself being super productive in the coffee shop.
I mean, I know I get real jittery because of all the caffeine, but yeah, like.
Yeah. Well, once in a while, I like to change my environment here and there, but as long as it doesn't take me an hour to get there, right? So yeah, I found that we don't need to meet quite as often, and it's largely due to ChatOps.
Yeah, fantastic. So you're working on this. What kind of things, now that I know you've been working with the team here at StackStorm and learning a little bit about ChatOps, what is like one of the big goals or one of the big things that is new that you're trying in this new endeavor that is kind of experiment for you, that you're interested and how you hope it will turn out?
Well, the two aspects that are most important would be the organization of all information that you develop collectively, all the sharing of the knowledge. So you have to make a little bit of planning for your channels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there's a tendency to use these channels as a dumping ground for all the useful links that you come across, or all the stuff that you think you might need later on.
Mm-hmm.
And it can become quite a jet pile of stuff pretty soon. So you have to do a little bit of planning, think it through, and figure out how this information is going to be organized later on, because like a ChatOps channel is not necessarily the place for it,
right?
Or a good place for it.
And that's interesting, right? Like the understanding the difference between the stream of communication when things are happening in the synchronous channel, and then things that should and can go offline, asynchronous. I think having the ability to, instead of forking off, if you will, and going to an asynchronous activity because you can't do the thing you need to do, add to the spreadsheet, deploy a server, whatever, because that's normally what happens. Now that you can pull in the activity into the synchronous the conversation, well, that's where the acceleration occurs. So.
That's right. So it does not replace a lot of things that you still kind of need on the project. Like you still need to push things forward in a concerted manner. So be it Jira, be it Trello, be it whatever other project management tool you might have in place.
Mm-hmm.
That's still need that for sure. It does not replace your procedures and processes. It does not replace your checklists. So you still need to find a good place for that.
Mm-hmm.
But it does change the way, or it does reduce the need to get everyone together in one room and waste a lot of everyone's time dramatically. And I think that's a major advantage. And the second aspect is, of course, the way you integrate ChatOps into a whole bunch of things. It starts, you start thinking about what else can I bring into ChatOps? What else would be useful? And this is very new, and I find myself thinking constantly about what else can I bring in. Like, you get excited about all the things that might be possible with a little bit of coding, like with a couple lines of code.
Absolutely.
And StackStorm is front and center of that movement.
Yep, definitely that's what we're trying to do. So, shameless plug for StackStorm here. We do a lot of this stuff, but ChatOps is really, the key thing here, whether it's with StackStorm or with some other mechanism, right? The key is finding a way to accelerate. We certainly think we've got a good way to attack it. Come visit us. We'll share it with you. But all right, Alex. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you joining us today. I hope to have you on again sometime, or Patrick maybe. I guess when he gets back from his tightrope walking. So, all right, fantastic. All right, so now I'm going to turn it over to Sally, the veritable Rothsa.
Hey, James.
Hey,
Thanks
Sally.
for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. How are you?
I'm great.
All right.
I'm having fun down here in Arizona.
Tempe. Yeah, it's hot there? Is it cool there? Like, I don't know, is global warming making it more comfortable? Like, how does that work?
It's during the winter, it's colder than you'd think. It's around 60, and it's a little depressing, but I guess I'm still warmer than all of you guys. So.
Oh, God. I mean, I'm looking at least 3 inches right now, and more coming, so enjoy the snow, or the sun for me, please. So Sally and I work together at GitHub, and I always love to hear different perspectives from my coworkers, even like how did you perceive similar experiences that we went through, and so I invited Sally here to just kind of get her perspective. What does ChatOps and how has it changed what you do? So I don't know, maybe just introduce yourself a little bit, Sally, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Sure. Um, I started my career in ops actually out of I had a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. I joined Mad Mimi, which is an email marketing company, and actually started doing some coding for them and left as the chief of email infrastructure and deliverability there. So I was doing a bunch of scripting there. Then I joined GitHub and worked on as a mail guru there, and now I'm at GoDaddy, and I do a lot of email-related things. But I also right now I'm implementing a CI/CD workflow, another iteration on that for the MySQL team, which is about 3,000 servers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been a lot of fun, and I'm integrating ChatOps with that right now, just because it makes it. I've implemented ChatOps for each team I've been at through Slack.
Mm.
So each team has its own bot for their different. Each team is kind of a pod, and so whatever sorts of tools they use, my goal is to just integrate that into our chat and grow that. So I've been doing that in a number of different places, and I've inspired other people at the company to do their own thing with their own teams. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's interesting. Maybe let's talk about that a little bit. Like, it's interesting. Anytime that I talk to somebody about ChatOps, and the minute that they start trying it, it kind of spreads like wildfire. Like people just are attracted to it for some reason. It speaks to us in the I don't want to have to change how I'm communicating with people. Like we kind of have figured out that talking verbally is how we talk to each other, and Slack and communication channels otherwise are very similar. So like, tell me a little bit about how it's kind of taken off at GoDaddy since you've been there.
Well, the barrier to entry is low, especially if someone gives you a few steps along the way. Like what we generally do here is we spin up a VM and install Hubot on it and connect Hubot up to Slack, and that's the new bot for whichever team. And I think the underlying theme is it's just a low barrier to entry. It's a low barrier to entry to spinning up the bot. It's low barrier to entry to learning what you put on the bot, because the commands have to be short and fairly simple. So just being able to do that and see people using it in line with talking about work just makes it really easy to adopt and easy for people to see the demonstrated value.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. I recently was speaking with another client of ours. I was visiting them and asking them about how their experience with ChatOps has been, and they were telling me that previously they used to have this bottleneck, small bottleneck, but it existed, where whenever somebody from the business wanted to deploy new code, they'd have to go through some team, the ops team, the delivery team, if you will, whatever those people were referred to in their company. And as soon as they implemented ChatOps, well, suddenly they're no longer deploying this code anymore. They're actually just curating the mechanisms for everybody else to deploy the code. And so now there's a jump that's occurred. It's these folks that aren't even technically enabled or technically, I wouldn't say strong. They're just not DevOps people, right? They're worried about money. They're worried about finance. They're worried about HR. They're also coming to this and taking advantage of it. And I think that's just fantastic. I don't know if you've seen similar things as well in your org.
The ops and dev teams are probably interacting more as a result. Not that they weren't already. Actually, it was pretty good, but it's improving because we are in the same channel, receiving the same integrations and making the same commands and just talking about what's coming up. So yeah. I'd agree with that.
So yeah, that's great. Oh, go ahead.
There's one other thing that also that's the ChatOps as a service is starting to happen here as well. Jenkins as a service. Each team has their own little environment of tools that they're using instead of things that are more together as a company.
Do you think that that helps or hinders? Like, it seems like that maybe allows domains to be modeled a little bit closer. You no longer have to worry about how different tools bleed into each other. Like, what is your experience there?
That's the main advantage.
Yeah.
But that said, with Slack and the ability to invite multiple bots to a particular chat room, you can pull in a bot for something if you want and kick it back out. Show other teams bots, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I like the separation of responsibility. Even it's really cool. Here's a fun question. I like to ask ChatOps origin stories. I know James White's a big fan of origin stories. Do you remember like the first time that you ChatOpsed and what you did? What was that aha moment for you?
I think the command that I had the most enjoyment out of, and the one I first remember doing, I'm sure I did other ones before, but was being able to spin up an EC2 instance and then build on it and deploy to it all through chat, and not having to go, work in a different interface. I saw other people doing it, and then I was just able to do it because I saw what the commands were and I saw there was an autocomplete, so it just worked out. It was pretty great.
And all of a sudden,
I had to.
Yeah, you're just doing it, right?
Yeah.
What do you have? That's really cool. Trying to think about the last. I have another question for you too. Now you've seen this ChatOps, right? And you're kind of going off, and it sounds like you're even almost evangelizing within your company, right? I know that I say whenever now that I've done ChatOps, I don't think I can work another way again, honestly. I'm curious, from your perspective, where do you see this going? Like within your own company, or even within the industry as a larger focal point?
Well, the reason that I talk about it and I spend time showing other people is because it's something that adds enjoyment to my workday, and so I want to share that with other people so that they can have more fun doing the same tasks that they regularly do, and just in being able to make those difficult parts of my job a little bit more social and maybe a little less stressful sometimes. That's why I think it's pretty awesome. Where it's going, I think there was a lot of development with Hubot and IRC bots, and I think Slack maybe has some work to do here because their integrations tend to be a post, but Slack is taking off itself. So and it's something that is no longer a something only technical people really mess with.
Sure.
So I think that once that increases its adoption, and people are going to build the bot capabilities there, I think that it's just going to naturally become something that people are expecting in their environment. So I think I know I'm talking about specific technologies, but I think that we're getting to the point where people will naturally recognize how useful and important it can be, and so I think it's gonna be big.
Yeah.
And I think it already is.
I hope so. Yeah, and I want to pick on something that you just said though, because I get a lot of crap about this incidentally, but you said it makes your job more fun. Like, really? Like, what does that mean to you? How does it make your job more fun?
Well, because it's extremely easy to chat, and it's something that I naturally do. So it's all I have to do now is put a / and I'm talking to a bot. And the bots that I've made at GoDaddy per team all specialize the team name for the bot. So Mad Mimi was acquired by GoDaddy. Their bot is called MimiBot and has a little icon of the Mimi symbol. And for MySQL, it's Flipper because Dolphin MySQL,
Yeah.
So, so stuff like that. So instead of flipping up or spinning up a VM with just a regular command. I'm telling Flipper to spin up my VM, and it's silly, but I mean, I enjoy that. So.
I mean, I would love to see a dolphin spin up servers for me too. I don't think I could be sad about that. Like little puppies and dolphins and whatnot doing my work for me. How can you not like that?
Yep.
Awesome. Any last thoughts you have before we go and move on to Manus, Sally?
Not specifically. I'm just glad to be here and glad to talk about something that is awesome. So thanks.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. And this is Sally Lehman at Rothsa on Twitter. She's generally pretty awesome and talks about awesome things. So definitely give her a follow. All right. Thanks, Sally. All right. So now we have the veritable Manus, my buddy. Sir, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Oh man, no video today, or is it snowing over there too?
Well, it's raining and my network's pretty terrible today.
Okay.
Yeah, I was cutting out.
First of all, what kind of world is it where rain affects the internet? I mean, like we have pipes and stuff, right? Like
yeah,
I lived at this one place one time where one of the conduits was slightly exposed, and anytime any sort of groundwater would get in there, it would short the DSL line, and we'd have to be offline until not only did it stop raining, but the pipe drained out. So
that's pretty funny. Did someone have to go out there with like a hair dryer or something to try to
get in there and unfreeze your internet? Oh my god. Well, so that would actually give credence to the idea that the internet is actually a series of tubes that gets clogged with things, cat images and stuff. So
I know where this is coming from, but let it pass.
So Manus, I know you're in the thick of it, right? You're here with me doing ChatOps stuff all day long, right?
Right.
I'm curious, from your perspective, right, as a developer and as a consumer, or actually, from your end, you're pushing things into operations,
right?
And the operations person, I'm trying to service you, and in a lot of cases, that's hard to do because we have conflicting priorities, right? Like you want to deliver, I want stability. That's going to happen, right? The classical DevOps dilemma. So I'm curious, in your opinion, like how have, first of all, tell me a little bit about your ChatOps. Like I know we've kind of talked about it in general, but how have your methodologies, your style, your view of things changed now that you've started using things like ChatOps?
Okay, yeah. So I guess a little bit of history on where I sort of started my engineering career I was at VMware. It's a big company, lots of processes, some amount of waterfallish behavior there, right? So as a developer, you work on code, send it out for review. Folks say, yeah, +1, this is good. You go merge it, and then something happens on a Jenkins server. Like, test break or something happens, and a QE person would come to me and be like, Manus, this is broken. Or I would get a bug saying, hey, this is screaming P0, that now my tests are broken, and you better go fix things because bats are failing or something, right? Mm-hmm. So it sets up a cycle. It sets up like a whole process where you kind of have to wait for emails or someone to notice that failures have happened and all these kind of things, right? Fundamentally with ChatOps, once we came down here, I mean, at StackStorm, we didn't even have the kind of infrastructure that VMware had. So we kind of built it out from scratch, and we built out things where there was visibility was built in, right? I mean, you kind of just changed the game and said, no, there is no QE, you are QE. There is no separate ops person, you are the ops person. I'm like, oh, well, what am I supposed to do? Mm-hmm. Then, like, you and Patrick sort of put all these systems together and constantly gave us visibility with all these tools like ChatOps and infrastructure as code. And you said, here, take a look at what we are building. These are the easy ways you can consume it. I don't need you to go to this crummy UI that's sitting somewhere and type in passwords and stuff. No, you just can access it right from here, from your chat window, and it's simple. And we will give you visibility when the test failure happens in the same window that that you are constantly in and talking to people and discussing ideas and things, right? Or sharing cat videos, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So it fundamentally changed it because it kind of gave me visibility into what ops was doing and what was going on, which, for what it's worth, I mean, it makes you a little kinder to the ops folks, saying that, oh wow, this job is really actually hard in some ways.
I mean, I like that you say that, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's interesting, right? You know, like I don't mean to dig on it, right? But like, developers' jobs are hard, ops jobs are hard, but we're not in each other's worlds, and so the empathy is difficult, right?
Exactly. It's a question of empathy, and the moment you get visibility, all these things kind of start kicking in, and you sort of start thinking about things a little differently, right? I mean, um, a bit of my work now starts bleeding into ops work, right? Like, I mean, as you know, like I work quite a fair bit on the release pipeline that we have, and actually making the releases go through, which traditionally was like, hey, it's an ops job, like the developers just check in the code, and some magic happens, and that's someone else's problem. Now I'm kind of on the hook for it, so I need to know. I kind of write release workflows, I build out things, go fix the processes that are broken, or we constantly keep tweaking around, right? So the visibility that comes in through just getting responses back in chat, or being able to like publish, like just start releases straight from chat, and keep getting a constant feedback what's going on where. That's it. I mean, that really changed everything for me in those terms, and it made things super simple and easy for me to actually jump in and start helping out.
That's interesting. Let's key on that, right? So you say you jumping in and helping out. What changed? Like, because the task didn't change, right?
No.
The activities that the ops people still have to do still occur. So why did you feel suddenly I can go help?
Well, so you see,
I stumped him.
The visibility, right? Like, the visibility is the key. The moment I know what is going on and what servers are doing what, and it becomes like, so for example, oftentimes, I mean, we have like, oh, this build is failing because this box is resource constrained. Like, there was a timeout or something of that sort. Well, what's going on? I mean, typically, you guys would report back and say, hey, this box, there was just disk usage was through the roof. We needed to clean up some stuff, so I had to do it. And the next time it happens, I mean, I know I've read this discussion, I have actually followed it. Like, oh, this timeout happened. I don't even need to ask James what to do. I think I can go check it out myself and see what's going on, right? So that's the sort of stuff that actually starts making, like, small things that you learn by just watching people do stuff, like just sitting, and just watching what's going on, and then actually going and trying to attempt those things yourself. I mean, that's where the difference happens. That's where you start helping out.
That's that's immense, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Now, do you see, interestingly enough, right? Like, so you're getting more visibility into the operations pipeline.
Right.
Are you in turn also providing more visibility into the development pipeline? Like, I know you're talking about the CI pipeline that you're building. Like, talk a little bit about that, and how maybe you're also trying to provide visibility to others in your own way.
Right. So we do a bunch of things, right? Like, I mean, I think this more falls under the infrastructure as code paradigm than ChatOps, but I think they're kind of fundamentally linked at the hip, right? Because everyone should know how things are built, especially in the technical world, right? When you're truly doing DevOps, you should know how things are built, not just be consuming services, right? So over there, I mean, there is like this real friction. Yes, I want the ops guys to give me servers that actually work, and for me to write code that can actually go and run builds on these servers, right? But it also means that sometimes I help out on the servers, and sometimes the ops guys say, you know what, this build is really not going to work because look, I mean, you don't have these keys here, you don't have X here, Y here, and those kind of things. So it's like a real mashup, right? Like, you kind of show them clearly saying, hey, here's how my build actually runs, or here's what my testing tools are going to be required, and they can be like, oh, well, you know what, we need these keys, this needs to change over here, so let me go fix that for you, and which is kind of like used to be dev type stuff, right? So there's bleeding. Still, I guess one part which is one good thing that happens is because while we build StackStorm, we use StackStorm for ChatOps, for a build infrastructure, everything. I mean, you guys work as like product managers in some sense and help us actually build out this platform better. So there is that amount of stuff too, right? So there are, and StackStorm, at least our development cycles, I guess, are a little special, where I've often seen that you or Patrick would go around and build something, make it work, and be like, hey guys, this is the feature that you want. So you show us like this is what it is, right? So you're kind of doing like the prototyping and stuff in an operation space, and you'll be like, we can probably do that a little nicer if we took it up in the platform, and it would make it kind of generally available or somewhere else. And that sort of things. If you build a bunch of features like that and actually gone ahead and done kind of some interesting things. So there's that sort of dev work that also goes on and happens. So
no, I think that's super powerful, right? Like the fact that the feedback loop is so tight, right, allows creativity to occur, right? To your point, like I am not the best coder everywhere. I know you know this, right? You laugh it up. But
I did not say anything.
But I mean, like, I can code ideas. I'm an opener. I'm not a closer. That's just how it goes, right? I know people who know how to actually code well good architectures. They're closers, right?
Right. Because
now we have the ability to work together like this, I can absolutely throw you an idea and you go, okay, I got it from here, and make it worthwhile. And that is amazing too, because I love being able to have quick collaboration with people, just creatively, right? Now let's just put code aside, just creative conversations. And anytime that that context switch occurs where you're going async or a meeting or email, like you lose that, right? You lose that social aspect, I guess. So.
Pretty much, yeah.
Manas, anything you want to throw out there? No, this is really good. I appreciate the insight.
Yeah. So actually, there's one last kind of thought, right? I mean, I started off as wondering what ChatOps would offer me, right? It was about a year and a half or 2 years ago this journey started in some ways, right? And I was like, okay, we're going to build this feature out, but I'm not quite sure what we actually get by it. But as you kind of get immersed in it, you kind of realize, oh wow, this actually really works. It makes things, it takes away a few friction points over and over again. Like consistently, if you take out a few friction points, at the end, your life is better and things work out for all your processes and stuff much nicer, right? I mean, eventually it's a force multiplier, right? Like as you call it. Yep.
Exactly.
That's it. That's from me.
Awesome. No, that's really good, and I appreciate you saying that. When Manas and I first started collaborating on this, he was very concerned that this would provide no value, and I appreciated all those discussions and talks we had, and so it's nice to hear that it is providing you value, right? Like immense to see just how much, back to what Sally was saying, how much joy it even brings into your work. Like,
pretty much.
I know the thing that I get demotivated the most about is I got this wonderful feature, I'm ready to do it, and now I've got this grind to get it somewhere.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm demotivated to build additional features or iterate on this one. But this helps.
Yeah. Yeah, this reduces friction. That helps.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Manas. I appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks, James.
All right. So now we have our final guest. You may know him as the pod guy, the one and only James White. I'd like to thank you for coming today, sir. Oh my gosh, he's here in Nashville with me. How did this even happen? I don't even know what happened.
Can they hear me?
Yeah, I think they can hear you. Okay, can somebody give me a thumbs up if you can hear James?
Hello?
I think I see Sally.
There you go.
Awesome.
Thanks, Sally.
Yeah, so thank you for coming. I appreciate all 6
We're kind of snowed in.
Yeah, we're a little. We're 4 feet now, people. 4 feet. So James White and I have been working together for well over a decade in various forms and capacities. And when I started working with James, he was very influential in teaching me about how ChatOps really kind of can transform just from fun into really getting things done, right? And as Alex said earlier, getting shit done.
Of course, we didn't call it ChatOps back then. We just called it like an IRC bot or something like that. And just like we didn't call it DevOps, we called it doing your job. So I guess I started using IRC bots back when first came to Nashville. It was we wired up a Perl PoE bot so that would just wire into Nagios and start checking. When you wanted to see if a host was up, you would just ask the bot.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to run through anyone who's used Nagios as a web interface knows how terrible it is. You want some other way to get information out of that. Nothing against the Nagios people. Love the product. Just it's not the 2.0.
Everybody knows what Nagios is. I don't think you have to apologize for that.
But then later, the real epiphany around ChatOps was later at a job where we had created this large VPN infrastructure where we had.
This was at EFT Source?
Yeah, we had a Card@Once product. It was basically we had small soakers boxes embedded into card printers, like credit card printers, and they would put those in bank branch locations. And we had several hundred of these out when we were first, prototyping it. And it got to the point where you can never predict what's going to be inside a bank branch or a small IT shop's network. So what would happen was they would just drop offline because of some routing issue or something at the bank branch. But the people at the bank branch wouldn't know that it was something going on in their location. We had to debug that somehow. And I was trying to get this product moved forward, and at the same time trying to support these hundreds of endpoints. Yeah. And it was just me and one other guy. And, well, we had a junior guy, but he was more on the Windows side than the IPsec side. And it got to the point where I couldn't keep up with the volume of requests. Like, is this printer up? Is this printer not?
So, like, who's asking for these requests?
The actual customer service representatives that were talking to the customers that had them on the phone. They're like, we can't print. Yeah. So they want to know if they couldn't print because it was a connectivity issue, or if something was wrong in our network. And so what we did was I went through we already had IRC because I tend to talk over people.
What?
Yeah.
No.
And so what happens is async talking is really, because my mind keeps moving and I can keep talking and people can respond. Right. So chat just works well for me. And so we had an internal IRC channel that the developers and the ops guys used at eFusource, and eventually we let the CSRs in. And what I did was I just went back through the chat logs, and I found every way they possibly asked the question: is Soapers 230 up? Is printer 230 up? Is 230 up? And I just regular expression that out so that anytime we would do that, we would just post back to Nagios, and then there was a bot that would respond whether it was up or down. And then not only we were able to push that work to people who weren't qualified to SSH into a server and debug, ping a bot or something like that, or we didn't want to give them those credentials. And that was really the epiphany when I realized that we could push work to the people who were least.
Right words, yeah. The people who are now learning.
The lowest skill level capable of doing the job. That's where you want to push the work to. Right?
I like to call it, instead of like pushing it down, bringing them up. Right, bringing people up to additional capability.
Yeah, because that's in fact what happened. Once they found out that they had this capability, they would start asking, well, is there some way we can find this? And then I would reach out off that. Yeah. And then eventually all the work goes away, and I can focus on building the product. And
so how long do you think that took you? Like that whole cycle of, bot plus analysis of talking to, I have some breathing room. I mean, I would assume
over a year. Yeah. Maybe it was over a year before. But then it got a rhythm down, and then we started adding features and adding stuff. Sure. So it kind of like always keeps up. The work always keeps up.
Sure. Yeah. You never.
It fills the time.
You always get more work.
Yeah. And that's actually. I mean, go back to automation and DevOps, and that's actually why that product wouldn't even have existed. But I completely automated the infrastructure away when I got there. It was just bare metal machines. Was ever on sale at Best Buy that day. It would be what they go and get and use as a server. And we got them all converted to like 99% virtual.
Yeah. I know one of the things that folks are curious about when we talk about automation and ChatOps and DevOps, and we're empowering people. There's a natural inclination for folks to get worried, right? I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to become redundant or whatever. And you have a wonderful way of putting it.
It's better on a whiteboard, but they don't fire the person who makes the work go away. Because it turns out capitalists aren't going to be satisfied with X dollars. They're always going to want X plus N. And so the moment you really show yourself as valuable and you made all your work go away, that makes room. The hours you have free of the day now, they asked me if I could create this new product, which wasn't even supposed to make us money. This product was supposed to be a loss leader. Because the card personalization business is very inertia driven. If you've already got someone doing your card personalization for you, you don't go looking for someone unless there's a value add. And so the job was, the game was sell them these printers and then pick up all the reissue business. And it turns out that the printers themselves were actually incredibly profitable.
Yeah.
So it was win-win.
So that's interesting. That kind of harks back to tight feedback cycles, ability to be creative because you're no longer hampered by, I wouldn't call them minutia, but the non-value necessary. Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's kind of a situation a lot of DevOps teams find, or ops teams, like not even DevOps teams, ops and developer teams find themselves constantly getting hounded by this small context interrupts here, 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 and they're expensive.
Yeah,
right?
context with penalty is very high.
But once you, and this is a good example of that, one of the big ways to start with ChatOps isn't actually like exposing dangerous commands. You don't want to just say, here's how to go, provision LUNs on a SAN right away, but providing the ability to be passive and get information to the people that need it, right? Also, how did that, like, adoption from that? There's always usually this fear of automation too. So like, how did that?
There was still a lot of resistance to it. It's just once they saw the value, and I think that the value to them was that they didn't have to interact with me. so that's.
Hey, it's a win, however you want to count it.
Yeah.
Right?
They just lock me in a telco closet. Let me bang out features on the product, and then they could interact with the bot.
Yeah.
It was much more personable than I am.
Right. Yeah, and that's also interesting. Like, giving bots personality. Right. It's important that a bot's not just a thing doing work for you.
Yeah,
right?
because
Like,
we anthropomorphize everything.
Yeah, it's got to give you sass and crap when you ask it the wrong things, and also be equally helpful. Right. I think that's very important.
For sure.
Yeah. So I'll ask you one more question, and I'll kick you out to the 6 feet away.
Right.
I know that every once in a while I like to bring up the James White Manifesto. It's a good creed of things to think about when trying to be, trying to do the good thing. When you think about ChatOps and the James White Manifesto, talk to me a little bit about the intersection.
I think that where the industry's going is to the reactor pattern, because just having a centralized bot that just kind of like shells out and does stuff, the authentication and authorization aspect of that and other things can start becoming limiting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that it as just a hook into whatever config management system you're using or whatever is really key. Mm-hmm. Be able to push out changes with just chat. I mean, GitHub already does this,
sure,
but they're ahead of the curve.
Oh, they're great. I mean, like I know. Maybe you could share your experience.
The problem is you can't just go from a company that has no automation and no ChatOps and then
turn it on,
and then do all the stuff that GitHub and these things that these startups are doing, mm-hmm. Especially in the enterprise. It's just not going to be a smooth transition. It's like jumping from an enterprise shop to a place like GitHub is like jumping 10 years into the future. Mm-hmm. You just don't. Other places are catching up, but not the enterprise shop, not the places that are using, IBM Z Series, Tivoli, that kind of stuff. They're not. They're years behind.
Yeah, and I'll shameless plug here for StackStorm. It's actually kind of what we're trying to do. Is these tools need to be in everybody's hands, not just SaaS operators and Web 2.0 operators. The most pain that I've ever felt in my career at these giant lumbering companies that are just wasting time and energy doing, things that they think are necessary, but they're not enabling us. They're not helping us in any way. They're just dragging us. The computers still feel like we're working for them as opposed to the other way around.
Yeah, until you can get that curve down. The amount of work coming into an IT shop is always going up, and throwing bodies at it just shifts the curve down, and automation levels it out, or even inverts it. Absolutely. So that's really key.
Anything else you want to add?
No.
No.
I'm done. ChatOps is just the hardest thing to adoption is convincing the people that it's worth it. And I think that the easiest way to do that is to demonstrate the smallest unit of value to the business. To the business, not all this cool whiz bang stuff that we
play.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like to your point, they needed to know if their service was available.
Yeah.
Right. Providing them that,
because they could tell the customer, look, we've got connectivity to your printer, so there's something else going on.
Yeah.
And then they could start digging into that, seeing if they input the data wrong.
Yeah. And I don't even know what DevOps means, but if DevOps had a definition around empowering people, I feel like that would fall into it, right? Just kind of square.
I think DevOps is more just people being able to write code and deploy. I think that just pretty much sums up DevOps altogether. I was actually talking about that yesterday with somebody who had the best definition. It used to be just called engineering. Yeah. Being able to deploy and write code is really just the 1-2 punch you've got.
All right. Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Safe travels home.
Right on.
And all the snow that we've got going on. Cheers. Yeah, fantastic. All right. Well, oh my goodness, we actually went about an hour of time today. I'd like to thank you again if you hung out with us for the whole hour. If you didn't and you're watching this after the fact, thank you also. Couple things just to say real quick. Thank you again to our hosts, our guests, Sally Lehman, James White, and Alex. Alex, I'm sorry. I'm just not even going to try. I'm sorry, Alex. And then, obviously, of course, thank you to Manas for his awesomeness as general. And good luck to Patrick. I hear that they just got word on an agreement on a design for the court. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Final thoughts. If you're interested in trying StackStorm, we're actually trying to bring ChatOps and event-driven automation to the enterprise. It's a big problem set that we're working on. Again, I don't ever want to work another way again, and selfishly, we're building this tool so that I don't have to. So I hope that if you're interested in some of the things that we talked about today, that maybe you go give ChatOps and StackStorm a shot. If you're not using StackStorm, that's okay too. I'd love to hear stories about how ChatOps is transforming the way you work. So with that, thank you so much, and may the automation be with you.